What's up, mamas? I'm Rebecca. You're watching the Reseller Mom Show. Thanks for joining me today for a video all about utilizing 5 things that you can do with your photos that will helpfully potentially increase your sales. And this is Poshmark specific, I guess, but you could probably use this for Mercari and eBay or really any other online selling platform. I have a couple of notes, 2 things to get out of the way, and then I'll get into the 5 tips. So first, decide if the item is worth it. If you're scrolling through your closet, let's say on Poshmark, and you're looking to make improvements, or you have an item that hasn't sold, it's been 2 months, it's been 6 months, it's been a year, and you're thinking of doing something to help make it sell, potentially doing things to improve the photos may help it sell. That's obvious. But if it's something that hasn't sold and you've had it for a while, perhaps it's an item that you shouldn't have bought in the first place. And so I would just encourage you, before you embark on employing any of these 5 photo tips or hacks, that you just analyze the item first, and instead of just automatically doing these things, see if it's even worth improving to begin with. If it's a $10 item, you could either leave it up and not improve it. You could improve it and sell a $10 item, or you can just leave it there and see if it sells for $10, or you can just remove it altogether. So look at the item and see if it's worth it first. The next thing before the tips is just to see what a consistent look and feel is for your closet. Again, this is related to Poshmark. It could go across for all of the platforms. But if you're going for a certain look right now and everything looks a certain way, and then you have items that you've done previously, you again have to decide if it's worth it to change it over to your new look and feel that matches with your brand, or if you just want to leave it. But it's just something that you should kind of analyze to begin with. Is it worth changing something over? Is that something that you should be doing across the board? Like, is that important to you? Like for me, I'm at the point now where most items are pretty consistent with the way they are. There's probably a handful that are taken from an old way, but 4 years into it now at this point, all my photos pretty much look the same. I mean, some are better than others, of course, but most of them are hanging. Hardly any of them are flat lays unless it has to be. They all should have a white background at this point. Nothing should be hanging on a door because that's just how far along in the journey I am. But if you're looking for a consistent look and feel, or something with a brand, maybe you have something hanging with your closet name or whatever, you just may want to look at that. If you want to change everything over to your new look and feel, that's a decision that you need to make for your business if that's worth it. Okay, let's get into the 5 tips. So the first tip that I have has been out there before. It's not a brainchild of mine, but I bring it up because it can help, and that's switching up the cover photo. So you could go back into the 8 photos that Poshmark gives you, or I think it's 12 photos that eBay gives you, and decide if you want to switch out the cover photo that you currently have for a different photo and make that your cover photo. And that just gives a new front look to the item. So as you're sharing it to your followers and in the feed, it's going to look completely different, and it may catch someone's eye. Another reason you may want to switch out the cover photo is if there is a particular detail that you have captured and taken photos of, like let's say on these, a close-up of one of the patches, or if it was on the butt, you might want to show the butt instead of the front. So there's just different things that may be item specific that you may want to switch out your cover photo for a detailed photo and see if that does the trick. So the first tip is switching up your cover photo. The second tip is retaking the photos altogether. And obviously we've all talked about this, and this is something we've probably all done. Deciding if it's worth it to retake the photos completely. Go find the item, pull it out of your inventory, and pretend like it's a brand new thing. You can obviously keep the listing up. You don't need to relist it. You can take this opportunity to do a full relist. That way you're also giving it a fresh face in the algorithm as well as fresh pictures. And I would probably recommend that. But you can just completely retake the photos. Maybe before you were taking photos and you weren't taking enough photos. Maybe you weren't showing all of the details of it. Maybe there's a flaw and you noted it in the listing, but you didn't take really good photos showing it, and so people are unsure of what's going on with that flaw, and that's why they haven't purchased it. So review the listing and determine what makes sense if you are going to retake photos. I rarely do this. I really think it's a giant waste of time on some things. I'd almost rather get rid of the item to begin with. But at the same time, if you've already taken the measurements, you've already written up the listing, and it's quick for you to do your photos, then you might as well just redo your photos. So I could go either way. I think it depends on the item. So that's number 2. Now going along with this is number 3, and that's if you do choose to retake your photos, it may warrant you to switch up what your display is or how you're conveying the item. So I hang my items now, and I really rarely do a flat lay. But if I wanted to do a flat lay, I could roll out the bottom part of this photo backdrop here, lay the shorts down, and take the photo that way. So you could do a flat lay. If you normally do hanging and that's how you had it and that didn't work, you could do a flat lay. If you do a flat lay, you could do it hanging. You could decide to model it. You could decide to throw it on a mannequin. I have Amy over here, my half-hanging mannequin. She could help me out one day. I don't have a full dress form or full mannequin. I just never really wanted to deal with it. And I really don't model my items unless there's no other way to show it, because I just don't want to get into that. And most of the items don't fit me anyway. So if it was an option for you, I would think like the ultimate way to show an item is to model it yourself. And so if that's something you're comfortable with and having it flat laid or having it hanging just isn't doing the trick, try to model it. So if you're going to take those photos again, try to take them in a different way. That way the time you're using replacing those photos, at least it's completely changing them up. So that was 2 and 3. Number 4 is make a collage or a detail, like an overall and a detail or a collage picture, or the front with the logo of the brand, or if it's like a bundle, you can put text, and you can utilize apps like the Over app, like Typorama, like, what's the other one I use? Pick Collage, Over app, Pick Collage, Typo. I think those are the 3. Over app, Pick Collage, and Typorama. Those are the 3 ones that I use. And they're very helpful. They're all free, or I use the free versions of them. And so they're very easy to put your photos in, add some text, change it up, put 2 pictures, make it, like one going this way and one going that way. If you want to look in my closet, I'm on Poshmark on my rack now, and you can go ahead and see I have some where I put like this is a bundle, and I have a couple photos, and I have some text. Some I do the brand name. I don't spend a lot of time on that. There are some closets that have the photograph of the item and then add the logo, like going up and down the side or something on every single one. I don't have time to do that. I don't think it helps that much. But if it hasn't sold and you want to do something to make it look new and different, or you want to move toward that in your closet, I think that those are all great refresh things that you can do. And what I like about it is that you don't have to retake the picture. So if the picture is fine, and you just want to do something to make it different, and none of the other photos to switch out the cover photo would make sense, making it into a collage or adding the logo, I think, is a really quick and easy thing that you can do from your phone. You can pick a few items and then just do them all at once, and it's very fast and very easy, and it doesn't cost anything, and it's just a good time-saving way to freshen up the cover photo of a listing. The last tip is number 5, and that is to edit and brighten up your photos. And that's something that you should be doing anyway, but if it's not something that is part of your normal routine to do, if it's not something that you have done in the past on your older photos, I would highly, highly encourage you to use a photo app to brighten and edit your photos, because I think for me, that's probably the most important thing when it comes to photos. So if it's not something you're doing, I think you should do it. And I utilize the Pick Tap Go app. I got that tip from Empty Hanger a long time ago, and it's a fantastic app. You do have to pay for it, but it is well worth the money, and I've had it for so long now that it's pennies a day to use, if that. So I think that that's a great app. A lot of people use Snapseed, and then there's all sorts of other apps that you can use that I'm not even familiar with that perhaps are free. There's also another app that I have used in the past, which is the Magic Eraser app. And I've talked about it before. Yeah, Magic Eraser. I was going to show it to you, but I guess it's not. This one right here. You can't really see it. Magic Eraser app. It's free. You can put in the picture and then actually, and I did a video on this now that I think about it, remove the background completely around it so that it's completely stark white and not just like a photo backdrop type of thing. So that's really helpful as well. And I do think that there are certain items where that looks really good and it's quick and easy to do. And like I said, I did a whole video on that previously. So those are 5 things that you can do. And again, we may have all heard of them from time to time, but I do think it's good. Maybe you make a note on yourself, like on your calendar, once a month or once a quarter, or set up a habit trigger. You guys know, if you watch my habits video, that you may want to do a habit trigger. Like when I do my monthly financials, now I'm also going to do a photo audit of my closet and just scroll through and make a note, like an item in your closet for yourself that allows you to go back to it later and find it. Of items that you want to refresh the photos. And then you can go through this list of 5 tips and see if there's anything that you would want to change those photos for that item. And I do think that combination of switching up your photos in some way based on these 5 tips, as well as relisting it, could really give you a boost in some sales. And it's also a good opportunity to do the very first step before I listed out the 5 tips, which is decide if it's worth it to change. Not all items are. Sometimes you just leave it there, and when it sells, or you just take it out of your inventory completely and donate it to a good cause. Those are all the tips that I have for you today on 5 reasons or 5 things that you can do with your photos to increase your sales. I hope that they help you. Leave me a comment below if it's something that you've tried, or if you have another tip that goes along with this theme. I would love to hear it. And like this video on the way out and subscribe for more Reseller Mom content. Have a great day.